Hi everybody, welcome to Simply Scuba. In today's video I'm going to be taking a closer look at the Mars XR single back mount set. So this is a complete back mount, sort of backplate, harness, wing system, a complete BCD. It comes fully assembled. I've basically just taken this out of the bag, and yeah, it is a great starting point for when you want to move into backplates and harnesses, because you get everything that you need. And then on from this, what you can do is customize it. You can swap the wing out, you can swap parts of the harness out and do certain things to it to customize it to your heart's content, really, to your style of diving. Let's take a closer look. So this is how it arrives in a big bag with a sort of a cardboard header at the top with the serial number for it. Keep an eye on that. It's always handy just to know the serial number, the barcode, and just information about it. Lifting that off in the bag, we have, now it's mostly assembled, but a lot of the sort of times with these sort of kits, as it were, some parts aren't always, oh, you get a little book, some bedtime reading, manual distrazione, instruction manual, just with some more information about it. So again, have a quick glance through that. Actually, yeah, no, everything is assembled on this. So I'm just going to like unfold it, as it were, make it a bit more presentable, probably inflate the bladder, and then I'll run you through the whole BCD. So starting up right at the top, you have a pretty decent grab handle, which has this like rubberized sort of handle to it with webbing underneath it, and that then attaches down onto the back plate itself. So you can grab that and you can really haul it around out of the water, move it around the dive site. You get a really solid handle, so you're not having to grab like the cylinder valve, your regulators, or the harness itself. You have a decent handle for that. Moving down from there, you have a nice padded section over the shoulder straps, and it has this open mesh material, which is really quite soft. So that's really if you're diving in warmer climates and you're diving in just like a rash vest or something, instead of having that 2-inch webbing strap kind of digging into your shoulders, it's much more comfortable. And because it's this like open mesh, it dries quite quickly between dives, so you don't have to put a cold, soggy BCD back on for dive number 2. Moving down this sort of padded harness, what you can do, you can remove this if you really wanted to, and just have that sort of more pure harness. You probably have to do a lot of threading, and you might have to take some bits off of it, but I reckon with enough time and effort you could probably take that padded section off if you didn't really want it to. You have a section of elastic on both sides on the shoulder straps. That traditionally I put that underneath a double ender, no, not a double ender, a D-ring. So I'd expect I'd probably fit a D-ring onto that. That's more for holding on to things. If it's like your backup torch, you clip your backup torch onto a D-ring and then you tuck the torch into there, so it's not dangling sort of underneath you. But you've got one of those on each side, so you can use that as much as you would like. Moving down from there, you have this section of elasticated bungee. This is more for a retainer for your corrugated inflator hose. The inflator hose, just so it doesn't slip over your left-hand shoulder, that holds it in position. Right now it's only holding onto the actual inflator hose, but the corrugated hose, you could tuck that through there with the inflator. The inflator is a decent weight, a good chunk to it. It's all rubberized, so it's quite nice to sort of feel and tactile. Big metal buttons, it's nice to see metal buttons, they're strong and reliable. Deflate on the tip and inflate on the bottom next to the valve, and then oral inflation valve as well. This one doesn't have a pull dump, so we're moving more into the world of technical diving instead of recreational. Underneath that, you do have a pre-bent metal D-ring. This feels like aluminium, so it's fairly light. Pre-bent just so it lifts itself up away from the strap itself. Makes it a bit easier to clip bolt snaps onto that. And then underneath that, you have Mars XR's new like military clip. Very, very thin, but it's a strong clip. It's a bit like a pinch clip in that you need two sort of activations to open it. If you try and pull them up, it doesn't activate, but if you pull it down, then it can separate, so you can get in and out of the BCD a bit easier. That means that it's not strictly DIR because you have that sort of break in the system, but you also have a quick adjust as well, so you can adjust that one shoulder strap. You only have this on the left hand side, you don't have it on the right. That is just a single piece of wearing harness, so that's more sort of reliable. You get your right hand side in first, then you put your left side in, and then you adjust it to your requirements. Underneath that harness, you have more padding over the back plate. So again, more sort of mesh material. It's a little bit chunkier around the small of your back, so it sits and cushions that sort of crevice, as it were. Again, you can remove this if you want and just have the bare back plate. This is their traditional aluminium back plate, except it isn't that matte black, which is a little bit different. It's this sort of matte silver, almost white onto this, which is pretty cool. But yeah, if you don't want that padding, you can remove that. It's just a few Allen bolts to remove that. Onto the waistband. So the waistband has integrated weight pockets. So these are a little bit different. You have this long section of Velcro, which is actually tucked underneath that D-ring. That you wouldn't want. So that basically holds onto your lead weight on the inside, and then to ditch them, you pull on that Velcro, and then your lead can just fall out. Of course, it might need some assistance. There's no separate weight pouch, which is, it's good in one way in that if you do ever need to ditch your lead, you're just ditching the lead. You're not losing a weight pouch that you then have to buy a replacement part for. But in saying that, you do have to have the presence of mind to physically ditch that lead, unless it's sort of pointing downwards, which the lead would naturally sort of make it want to sort of point downwards. It is not going to fall out, so you do have to be sort of aware of that. And underneath that, which is a little weird move for me, they've put this D-ring. So that means that you either have to put that section of Velcro so that it's only just going through the D-ring, but then you have a big gap through here, or you just have to sacrifice that D-ring or sacrifice that quick release mechanism. I don't really understand what they've sort of done there. Moving further around, you have more sort of retention straps. That's more for the waistband in front, just so that it can sort of be tucked in nice and neatly. And around the front, you have a traditional, this feels like aluminium again, quick release sort of weight belt style buckle on the front. Underneath, you have a crotch strap, much softer webbing material on this. It's still 2 inches wide. You get a D-ring on the front and then a D-ring down in the small of your back. All of these except for this is the one fixed D-ring. The rest can be moved around. Even the ones on the shoulders, they're still on serrated tri-gliders, but you can move them around as sort of much as you want, except for this one that you can't move it any further down because of the buckle. Turning the BCD around so you can see the back and the kind of the right hand side. On the right side pocket, you still have that Velcro sort of quick release weight pocket with the D-ring that's hidden underneath for some reason. But you also have this drop down pocket, which is Velcro. So a little D-ring, plastic D-ring at the bottom. Pull on that, and that undoes this sort of little pocket that can roll down. So in an emergency, you find something or whatever, you need to stow it away. You have a Velcroed pocket. You can stow stuff inside there. You could fit a mask in that very easily, and then that can just be this drop down pocket on your right hand side. But if you don't need it, then you just roll it back up again. Use that Velcro just to keep it nice, neat and tidy. Onto the wing. So this is a dual wing, or to say it has this separate external shell. It's designed exclusively for single cylinders because it's got this very skinny section down the center. You can't use this on twins, but if you wanted to use twins, what you could do is remove this, fit a twin wing onto it, and still use the same backplate and harness to dive on twin cylinders. But this has this external shell, which is abrasion resistant. It's nice and tough. And then you have an internal bladder that you can access via a zipper. You might be able to see that on the inside. There's a zipper all the way around. So then you can access the internal bladder, fix or repair it sort of as you need to. Down the center, you have two parallel cam bands with metal buckles on that. These are aluminium as well, so they're quite light as well. So they're really going for that like travel vibe. So it's strong and reliable, but it's also fairly light as well. But two just gives you extra redundancy and sort of strength and solidarity, so that that cylinder, once it's in place with the two cam bands, doesn't twist and turn and roll around. If you only have one, it has that sort of pivot point, but when there's two parallel ones, it stays exactly where you want it to. And then on the inside, you can't see it now because it's fully inflated. The two sides of it are going to do the same thing when it is inflated, but when it's deflated, you actually have a small single tank adapter. Just two small sections of like piping that just create a bit of a cradle for your cylinder, so even when it's deflated, it's not rocking and rolling around side to side. But again, if you do have any gas inside of the bladder, the natural donut shape of the wing is going to help with that anyway. Otherwise, on your right hand side, you have a little pull dump in your kidney. You don't have one. Well, you do have one on the left hand side. That's quite nice to see. That feels just like a blank though, so you can choose whether to have that pull dump on your right hand kidney or your left hand kidney. Different training agencies do it slightly different. A lot just prefer it all on the left hand side, so they've put that blank in, which is quite nice to see, so that if you want to, you can swap it over. And that's the Mares XR single back mount set, a good like jumping off point if you're moving into the realms of backplates and harnesses. DIR purists aren't going to like it because it's got a few sort of breaks in the harness and other sort of bits that they're not huge fans of. But actually, if you're just starting out, yeah, this is that nice like stepping stone, because it's got a lot of the similar features that you're expecting in your like recreational BCD. It's still nice and comfortable, but it's quite light and tough at the same time. You've got the lightness and the rigidity of that aluminium backplate, aluminium sort of metal furnishings all over it, so it's still nice and light and fairly tough, but also in the wing as well. That tough external shell is going to protect that internal bladder. So yeah, if you're just thinking about getting into more technical diving, moving into backplates and harnesses, this is definitely a great starting off point that you can then customize to your heart's content. You can swap that wing out, you can swap the harness out, you can start to sort of chop and change it as you need to. Now, there's going to be more information on our website, simplyscuba.com. Just click on the link down in the description below so you can check it out and buy it from us at simplyscuba.com. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.